DSS Requirement 5.2 says that the solution that we have or that you implement, it needs to be capable of logging, and we'll talk about that in the next subsequent requirements. You need to make sure that the solution is kept current. Every day there's new malware that comes out, right? And so there's new definitions that are released. And so we need to make sure that we keep the definitions for the malware up to date. We need to make sure that we keep the scanning engine current and up to date as well. And we need to make sure that that the solutions that you have in place are performing scans periodically. Now, it's not our job to define what periodically is for your environment. But I can tell you as an assessor, if the scans that you're performing run more than, say, a week, I get really nervous and I'm looking for some real business justification for why you're not running it sooner. Ideally, if you can run it every day or run it in real time, that's perfect. However, there are situations we understand where it's where you can't always run it every day. Now, if you tell me that we do not run antivirus scans on our database because it brings our database to its knees, I would suggest you don't run antivirus scanning on the actual database itself. However, you would still need to run the anti-malware scan against the server itself. It's not acceptable to shut off an antivirus solution because it's inconvenient. Continuing on with the requirements in 5.2, one of the areas that most organizations really struggle with is there's a requirement that we retain the logs that are generated by your antivirus solution. Now, understand that there's a couple of places where the logging needs to occur. We have our console or antivirus console or management, the head end. We absolutely need to be logging the antivirus activities that are associated with that. However, we also need to be logging the events that occur on the workstations themselves. Specific to the requirement, it says that we need to be retaining those logs in accordance with requirement 10.7. If you need some assistance in understanding what that requirement is, please have a look at the requirements around log retention for 10.7. We find a lot of organizations struggle with meeting this requirement, especially where they're in a very distributed environment. We come into a retail environment or into a hospitality environment where they might have 100 restaurants or 500 restaurants. And the log retention and the log review becomes very difficult around this antivirus solution. In many situations, the antivirus solution has the capability of generating logs. The problems exist that we're not retaining those logs as required. So my recommendation to you is making sure as part of your logging and your log management solution for antivirus is that you ensure that you are capturing the logs from the PCs, the workstations out in the field where antivirus solution is running. If there is malware in your environment, your staff should know about that. And really the only way to know about that is if it shows up somewhere in a log and then is reviewed periodically.